Well, Missouri taxpayers know they have a friend in the United States Senate, the man that's fought to eliminate the marriage penalty, to eliminate the death tax forever. They have a friend in Senator Jim Talent. Missouri farmers know they have a friend in Washington, D.C., Jim Talent, working day and night to make sure that our nation is energy independent, that we are using alternative fuels. Jim Talent's leadership has been a breath of fresh air to Missouri farmers, and they have a friend in the Senate, and they want to send him back. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an outstanding leader, a man of great moral fortitude, an effective voice for us in Washington, D.C., a man who leads our party, leads our ticket, and is a leader in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, our Senator, Jim Talent.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, you can sit down. Thank you. Thank you, John. But I bet you say that about all the candidates, don't you? No, sure he doesn't. It's great to be here with you. It really is. I'm enjoying myself. Are you tired? Are you ready for a tan? And I realized yesterday, maybe we ought to do this another 5 or 6 weeks. I mean, you're the ones working real hard. Hey, I've got a real treat today. I am traveling with my family today, beginning with, of course, my wife, Brenda, who is here with us. When Brenda travels with me, we don't allow her to speak because it shows me up. See, she's too good a speaker. And my son, Mike, is delaying going to school. He'll be with us here in St. Louis anyway. This is Michael. Michael traveled with us yesterday, but he couldn't travel with us on Saturday because he was starting on a football team that won the high school conference championship for their company. I thought I'd slip that in. When you have an athletic career that was as undistinguished as mine, you take special pleasure when your kids do pretty well. And Kate, our older daughter, is traveling with us all day today, and she has. She cleared her social calendar. Of course, it means she has to miss a day of school, and she deeply regrets that. But she still, you know, I have been just really for the last week or so visiting around at events like this, where we're getting together all the people who are working to get out the vote. And for the last several months, I've been all over Missouri for the last, 4 years. But I've sensed the intensity level growing since August. I get around more than probably just about anybody else in the state. And I think we're hitting a peak. I like where we're positioned. I'm telling you something, you're going to re-elect yourself a United States Senator tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. You notice, by the way, it's not really the thing to do to clap when people talk about re-electing you, but I've been doing it the last couple of days. I've just been joining in because I want to see that too. I went to the Senate 4 years ago after having served 16 years in different legislative bodies, and with a very definite intention of prioritizing certain issues that I knew were important nationally, but I thought would have a disproportionate impact for good here in the heartland and to the communities here in Missouri. I mean, I've said to you all, and many of you have been at events where I've said this, I'm past the point where I'm in office because I care from a personal standpoint about what door my name is on. I mean, to me, what makes a difference is looking back at the end of a congressional session and knowing that it was different because I was there. The system actually worked in a set of areas for people because I worked for them, because I was there. Now, And I've asked the voters to look at this record. John mentioned renewable fuels. I mean, we passed a good pro-growth energy bill that was also pro-conservation and pro-environment. It contained the renewable fuel standard that I put on the energy bill that requires the oil companies to buy ethanol and biodiesel. Basically, it just creates the market for this product. The industry existed, but we needed the market. They had frozen it out for years. As a result of that, the country's moving rapidly to energy independence. This is the means to get us to energy independence, at least a substantial measure of it, the fastest. It is already having a moderating impact on energy prices. E85 sells for 40 cents a gallon less than unleaded gasoline. It's good for the environment. You want to do something about global warming, by the way, if Al Gore wants to, burn ethanol and biodiesel. That's what reduces the number of greenhouse gases, and it is bringing billions of dollars of investments and jobs and growth right here in the heartland. It will be for Missouri what oil has been for Texas in terms of jobs and growth. Every Midwestern senator supported the bill for that reason. My opponent would have opposed it. I fought hard for something about methamphetamine. It is the most dangerous drug we've confronted in this generation. And when I contacted Senator Dianne Feinstein from California, because California is one in the production of meth and Missouri is two, the federal government wasn't even aggressively in the fight. It was the belief of the federal bureaucracies that marijuana was the most dangerous drug, believe it or not. Well, we passed the combat meth law, which not only the cold medicines behind pharmacy counters. That's the reason why you're signing and buy a package at a time. Well, the reason is so that the meth cooks can't assemble a trunk full of cold medicines and cook methamphetamine. And it's going to reduce the number of meth labs by 70%. At the time we were finished passing that bill, the federal government was aggressively on the side of our sheriffs and our police officers in fighting methamphetamine. We changed the system in Washington on behalf of Missouri in that regard. Now, there's a lot of other things I could talk about. I'm not going to, even though I have Senator Bond's time on this stop. Normally he would be speaking for a few minutes, but evidently he's late, so he's yielded me his time de facto. But I've also stood, and I'm the only candidate in the race who stood for the values of the heartland of the United States Senate. I believe, for example, that marriage is a relationship between a man and a woman, and I supported the marriage amendment. I'm the only one who did. I do believe in the dignity and value of life at all stages. I supported the ban on partial birth abortions. I'm the only one in this race who did. Amen. I believe and that's why I supported Judge Alito's nomination, and I'm the only one in the race who did that. John mentioned, I think he mentioned the tax relief. I believe that the wealth of a nation belongs in the first instance to the people who produce it and not to the government. And so I've worked over the years to get taxes low and keep them low. And you know, the people are benefiting. We've had 19 straight quarters of prosperity. Unemployment's now 4.4%, created 6 million jobs since 2003. The government's benefited too. The government's revenues increased the last 2 years 14% and 11%. That meant last year the government got $250 billion more in additional revenue from the American people because of the tax cuts, and the deficit's going down. People ask me, can we balance the budget while we cut taxes? We can't balance the budget without cutting taxes because we need to empower the American people to save and invest so this economy can grow. And it comes down to what you think is important about society. That's where you want the wealth and the resources and the power and the decision-making power to be. And I think what's important is what people have built on their own. And I have taken positions of strength across the board in the war on terror. I'm for completing the mission in Iraq, not pulling out. You know, as difficult as it is there, the one thing that would be worse than going through what we're going through is if we end up going through it for nothing because we pull out and the terrorists take over everything and we have a terrorist haven in Iraq. And I believe very strongly that we have to aggressively get the intelligence that we need to stop the terrorists, and I'm the only one in the race who does. If there's an international phone call and Al-Qaeda's on one of the line, to me it is common sense that we have to find out what it is they're talking about. And I don't, it saddens me that this has become that program's almost become a partisan issue. It's every president since Jimmy Carter has used it. My opponent said it's unlawful. If information is classified, I think it ought to stay classified. You know, the New York Times published information about a financial interdiction program that was not even controversial. Nobody claimed it was abusive. It was effective. And they published information, and my opponent went out of her way to say it was okay to do that because she thought the terrorists probably knew about the program already. Well, they know about it now. Look, we can't beat them without getting intelligence, without keeping classified secrets classified, and without acting quickly on what we know. As long as I'm in the United States Senate, I'm going to worry about your security, your civil liberties, your freedom, and I'm going to make certain that we get the intelligence we need to protect you. What is it we need to do to be successful tomorrow? We need to continue to execute the plan to get out the vote, and we also need not only to do the organized getting out the vote, but what I call the disorganized getting out the vote. If you've not signed up, it is not too late to do that. You can sign up to, it's not too late, is it, staff? You can still do that? Okay. To sign up for the, they're laughing, of course it's not too late. You can sign up to phone, that's very important, and you can, in the meantime, talk to friends and neighbors and coworkers and fellow students about the importance of getting out to vote. Folks, I can represent Missouri in the Senate effectively. I really believe I can for a number of years. We're talking about who's going to represent Missouri in the next 6 months, who's going to make the system work on behalf of Missouri interests and values. I asked you to look at my record. I think I can do that. Get out, tell your friends and neighbors, and we will win this election tomorrow. Thank you.